What's going on? Welcome back to the show. Yeah. So, what do you want to talk about before we hop into questions?
Let's talk about that 3 out of 5 thing that Chris T mentioned. He basically said that there should be no debate, no question. There's absolutely no reason not to do Street Fighter V 3 out of 5 the entire way for every tournament. What do you think?
Well, it's absurd to say that there's no reason.
Well, so here's the thing, right? Coming from a scene, you know, because you are obviously an NRS player, but coming from being largely involved in a scene that is 3 out of 5 the whole way, like that, like Injustice. What's the Injustice reasoning for 3 out of 5?
The developer specifically said that they designed it for 3 out of 5.
How does that work?
I mean, they literally came out and were like, "This game is made for 3 out of 5."
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Injustice 1 started out 2 out of 3 and became 3 out of 5.
Right.
Because it had a lot of variance in it. Like, dude, Superman had a 100% damage combo in the corner. Like, you just died too fast.
Right.
In a game where you didn't have set life bars each time, so fine, it became 3 out of 5. And then that tradition continued in MK, and it continued in Injustice 2.
Right, because even Marvel is 3 out of 5 now. Tekken has always been 3 out of 5 rounds. 3 out of 5 rounds.
It's always been like that.
Yeah, it's always been like that. So, what do you think of increasing Street Fighter V to 3 out of 5?
I mean, I don't know. Look, the stats kept by GYT.
Yes, Glenn Craven's.
Yes,
the game 2K.
Right. Show that 85% of the time, the person who goes up 2-0 or 2-1 wins the set.
Right.
I mean,
which
so
makes sense, yeah.
Of course. Certainly there is some remaining 15% where the opposite happens.
Hey, Justin just did it to HK Dash.
It definitely happens.
Right.
But I feel like the biggest reason to have 3 out of 5 is not because there's any kind of, reality to the situation. It's not, real, the sense of, the best player wins in 3 out of 5, but not in 2 out of 3. 85% of the time, it's the same person, right? The vast majority of the time. So it's not, real to say that the best person wins in 3 out of 5, but it does make people feel like the best person wins in 3 out of 5.
Yeah, so it's less excuses at that point.
Yeah,
right?
It's like one of those silly situations where the fact of it isn't what matters; it's the perception of it.
Yes,
that's what matters. And so I get that. That is, and the fact that people like to watch more video games are, I feel, why a game should be a 3 out of 5. But the whole way is a different story. Top 8, 3 out of 5, 16, whatever it is, fine. But when you are in pools, you're just holding up the tournament. I feel like that's the biggest outcome.
A nice comment here from a TO, Curly W. He actually says with 3 out of 5, you will just get less matches on stream.
Absolutely right.
Right? It's not going to change. You're not going to watch more matches total. No. You're just going to put less matches into the same amount of time.
Exactly right.
3 out of 5. So you're going to see less players. You're going to see less variety that way. So that's actually...
It's certainly worse for stream.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be extremely longer, because Street Fighter V can be a pretty dang fast game.
Yeah, but some percentage longer.
Right, but it will definitely be longer.
And considering that tournaments tournaments start at 10 in the morning or 8 in the morning.
Right, and
they go until the same at night, and how much longer do you want it to be?
And Dago Yume Hara says, and he has a good point there too, is that so many matches get played off stream and people are pissed about it already.
Yeah.
You change it to 3 out of 5, that is going to happen way more. You're going to miss that many more matches. So
everybody wants to feel like they're in control of situations. I mean, I'm the same way. I get it. So you feel like you have more control on the situation if it's 3 out of 5.
Right. Yeah,
it's not actually real, but...
It's the salt factor. I mean, I feel it right now when I play Injustice, right? I play it, I lose, and then you just feel like the other person on the other side of the internet is going, ha-ha, what a scrub! And you just get angry, so you want the 2 out of 3. And if you lose 2 out of 3, then you're like, okay, well...
Look, there is a difference between first to 1 and first to 2.
Right, exactly.
That is a significant... I would go on record saying that's a significant difference.
Yeah, yes.
But first to 3, it's diminishing returns.
Right, but I mean, the whole point is that a lot of it is perception. If I lose 1, I'm salty like you can't imagine. If I lose 2 in a row, then I'm like, okay, maybe that was a little more legit. And if I lose 3 in a row, I'm like, okay. You know, it's like you said, it's the perception thing, right? It's perception in a lot of ways.
It's safer to fly in an airplane because you're paying somebody who's a professional to fly the airplane.
Than to drive yourself.
They almost never crash.
Yeah.
Many tens of thousands are flying every single day.
Yep.
And they almost never crash. But people feel like they're unsafe because they're not like the ones on the controls, right?
Yeah,
Like you're not actually activating, you're just some passenger. You don't have any control over it at all. So you feel unsafe even though factually you're way safer than when you were driving to the airport.
Yep.
There's just situations where people feel better about having one thing or the other. So I'm down with having first to 3 when it's not like a burden on the rest of the tournament.
Right.
That is to say, like in top 8s, top 16s, something like that. But for the majority of the tournament, it can't be, or else it's just too long.
Right. I mean, it's the same little thing, right? Like you could use the same airplane analogy, like 1 out of this many people. But then, like, you have even of a worse chance to win the lottery, and everybody sits there and plays the lottery all day. Right?
Well, yeah.
So, same thing. Perception. It's a very, very different thing. Yeah, that's true, Siege. I'm just the salty person.
You can definitely survive a plane crash. What do you mean?
Yeah, people have done it before.
Of course, it happens.
So, yeah.
Not obviously, there's not a crash very often at all. But
right.
when it does happen, it's not uncommon to not survive. If there's like something fell out of something was bombed out of the sky or whatever, like in
but I
Ukraine,
mean, it's
different
just
story.
But again, just the probability of happening it is so low. You know what I mean?
It's like not worth considering.
Yeah.
It's literally not 100% chance that you die if you crash in a plane. All right, that's my thought. So are you on board with that? 3 out of 5 result.
I just I don't think it's necessary for pools. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, like, I can get it if we get in the top 16, but like, the part that I have the issue with is there's no question, there shouldn't be any argument, blah, 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 like that kind of emphaticness. Like,
no need for that.
Yeah, exactly. So
no need for that.
Yeah, I mean, look, if there's an only Street Fighter event, if there's an event that only has Street Fighter and you have 3 streams, sure, 3 out of 5 the whole way. That's up to your discretion, right? But, like, at most of the majors where there's multiple games, I just don't think it's necessary, frankly. And I do like the fact that Curly W pointed out you get less matches.
Yeah.
So.
And by the way, I don't think personally, I don't feel like it's necessary for Injustice to be 3 out of 5. I don't feel like there's a big difference between 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 5 in that game. Yeah. The developer said that it's 3 out of 5, and the game is more entered now than in the past, but like that's not getting Street Fighter 5 or Smash numbers, so like you're not holding up a tournament crazy long for it to be 3 out of 5. So Street Fighter would be a different story.
Round count is kind of crazy in Street Fighter 5 because Street Fighter 5, the meter gain is so geared towards 2 out of 3 rounds right now, the way people treat it. And if you do 3 out of 5, it actually kind of affects it a lot. Like the meta on that. So
for sure.
Okay.
Well,
all right. Do you want to just do some Q&A?
Let's do it, man. It's been a while, but we're going to take whatever random questions. James.
All right. Let's do this really quick. Let me go over here.
You going to put it on the old internet there?
I will put it on the old internet. What I want to do is this, like so. And then I can add screen capture, and then I can do something like this. This, just in case the tweet's longer. And
you never know.
That, yeah. So here we go. Our buddy Elon here. Elon, by the way, who does a lot of great editing work. He does editing work for Flow and a bunch of other guys out there. Has asked, what are some ways to get around the frustration of plateauing in a game? How do you find what you need to change?
I think these are 2 questions. One is, how do you get over the plateau? And the other one is, how do you get over the frustration of it? Okay. I'm not sure that I can really help with the frustration of it because it is frustrating. I feel like it's just a frustrating experience. I don't know how you unfrustrate it other than just to accept it because it's a reality that everybody has to deal with. But personally, the way that I deal with it is by, this might sound silly, by not playing for a little while. Even though I'm still thinking about the game and I want to play it, I often find that if I take a little bit of time off, I come back with kind of fresher approaches, fresher ideas. I'm not... And even a little bit less frustrated. A little bit less frustrated. So you make poor decisions when you're frustrated, right? Like, it's hard to be frustrated and make great decisions. No, I have the same thing I would say. So if you can take some time off and like let the frustration mellow out a little bit, then you can more easily find like the little approaches that you should be taking, little changes you should be making.
I mean, for me, I just get frustrated, right? So that's just me. But to be honest with you, the times that I've figured out how to break through the plateau, it's happened in so many different ways.
Yes.
I have had it so that someone's like, James, you're doing this too much. And I was like, holy shit. Like, you're totally right. I keep doing this. And, like, I just had to rethink
like somebody tells you.
Yeah. But there was, like, the biggest plateau I ever had, the biggest wall that I broke through in terms of fighting games was literally one that I came up with it myself. And this is why I talk about how fighting games are just so much about acceptance of your own weaknesses. Like, I was fighting against somebody. I've told the story many times. It was an Alpha 2. And he kept doing Bison Devil's Reverse. And I was Birdie, and I couldn't beat it. And then I finally thought of the way to beat it. And then he never did Devil's Reverse again. And I was so mad. But as I was walking home from UCLA to my apartment, during the walk, I was just salty the whole way. And like, I knew how to just do it one more time. But then it just like dawned on me. I was like, he noticed when I figured it out by my gameplay. He saw that I stopped hitting buttons and my behavior changed with my character. And he's like, he's making me do exactly what he wants me to do. And that was like one of the biggest light bulb moments I've ever had in fighting games. And a lot of times that's just what it takes, is like really learning, like, you know what? It wasn't just some stupid coincidence that he stopped doing it. There was a reason why it happened. And you have to accept that, and you have to learn how to turn that on to people in revenge.
I agree with that. Sometimes I've had epiphanies while in the shower. Sometimes I've had them while playing games, like while I'm playing a set. And sometimes it's like I'm taking a walk, or it's like I'm doing work, and then I'm like,
come up with a setup in a dream one time?
Oh yeah, a lot actually. That's many times.
That's so crazy, dude.
Like in fact, I used to keep a notebook next to my bed, and I would wake up with like either ideas for what to write about or ideas for what to try in training mode, and then I'd go back to sleep. And in the morning,
dude, that's so sick, dude. That's actually cool.
Yeah. All right, what do we got?
All right, next one. How do you guys feel about the 3v3 mode in DBFZ? Could you imagine 6 people on stage at EVO?
I think that's very cool and totally unlikely to happen.
Yeah. But I think that's a great... I mean, if you could do it online, I think that would be super fun. It would be a great way for people to get it. Now, is it 3v3 that they're all playing at the same time? Or
I believe it is.
Really? It's not even like you tag in the other guy and then
I think it's normal, yeah.
Dang. Okay.
As far as I know.
What can be done to make losing your way to knowledge more rewarding for new players in fighting games? I already have my answer to that. It
sounds like a James question.
Stop subtracting points from people when they lose in ranked. Stop it. It's the worst system humanly possible. Like I said, multiply all the points by 10 that currently exist, and when you lose, make it so that you just gain gain 100 points out of like 10,000 this time, right? Like
you gain less than you would.
Right. So that one makes it so it feels like you're still going somewhere, and then also build in stuff into the game that you can get. Like the fight money is tied to currency, so they can't give away too much. But if it's something like Tekken 7 where you just get more money to buy stupid things, or Injustice, you get the guild items and stuff like that. You can fishing in Guilty Gear, right? Like there's incentives that you can give for things like that. So if you just put in a crap ton of unlockable things, you can do the gift boxes and stuff like that, and people feel happy about it. I mean, like I like to talk about I haven't talked about this before, but like Injustice, when you unlock a guild box, how you have to hold the button.
Yeah.
Like I talked to enough video game designers that sensation of holding the button to unlock it creates better anticipation. It gives more joy and kind of thing like that. Because you could just hit the button and it would unlock, right? But you hold the button. Like there's just a lot of subtle things that you can do to make people enjoy their experience a lot more. And the online experience needs to be much better. So
Duo11 in the chat says that Personally, I find to get through plateaus, I just do moves in situations that feel dumb, but sometimes they work, and you learn more from that than just going with your same game plan that you've been doing. You lose more, but you're not playing to win, you're playing to learn. I think that's a good idea, and that's how I approach playing new characters, learning new matchups. When I see that something works, I kind of stop doing it, because now I know it works. Cool. Let's try the other thing out. And just keep doing that kind of stuff. I'm not sure about for getting over plateaus, but to sort of ramp up the knowledge in general, I think that's very useful.
When I played Injustice with Sejam at Wednesday Night Fights last week, the one thing he taught me was like back 3 more. I'm like, I do back 3. He's like, no, just do it in the middle of my strings. Like he would do forward 2, 3, breath, forward 2, 3. I'm like, what do I do to that? He's like, back 3. I'm like, but you're right next to me. Like, there's so much stuff. Just do it. And I did it, and it just started. I was like, what? And then Black Adam, like, anytime he did anything, I just back 3. Like, it like, low profiles is down 1.
Oh, you're Catwoman, right?
Yeah. So it was like, I was like, what the hell? Like, so what Duo says, just do things in weird, bad situations that you think would be bad, and sometimes they turn out to be great.
For sure.
So, there you go.
Okay, what do you got?
Let's see here. Would it be better for the sake of exposure to play a game with no local scene, or play the games that are a main part of mine?
Exposure, huh?
Ooh. With no local scene, or play the games that are a main part of mine? Like, I'm not sure I understand the question properly.
Well, I'm not really sure what is meant by exposure, but I think the question is, for exposure, would you rather like play the game everybody's playing, that way you have access to a game, or would you rather play a game that you like more, but there's nobody to play with?
Okay.
I don't know for exposure. I'm not sure. Like, are you trying to get noticed by esports teams?
Yeah, if you're good enough that you could be noticed by an esports team, if you are that good, then you probably would want to. I mean, it depends on your situation. Right? Like, I mean, Sonic Fox is like killing everybody in Skullgirls and DOA and Injustice.
He is a singular person and should not be
a
lesson point.
Exactly. But
it's too different.
But the point is, like, what if you are one of those guys in the Latin FGC, the Latin America FGC, where you basically are kind of stuck and don't have a lot of... Then, like, in those situations, you should probably play the one that's the most important, like the biggest one, right? But if you're actually in the, like in the United States, there's a successful scene for Injustice, there's a successful scene for Tekken. You know, a lot of these games are on the up and up, so I think you have more options in the States to play whatever you enjoy.
I certainly think it's better to play whatever you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to be more successful in doing it. Unless if you're trying to play like super poverty games, then you're not going to get exposure. That's what the question is. But other than that, play the stuff you like.
Okay. There you go.
Yes.
All right. Next question. What do you guys think about DBFZ's gameplay? Will it have longevity?
Yes.
I mean, who knows? We don't know yet.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Out on a limb. Risky business.
And you can absolutely ask non-FGC questions.
That's fine, whatever.
Yeah, just ask whatever you want. Okay.
Yeah, look, Reynold actually is a good example of this. Reynold is a great KOF player, but KOF is not getting esports. I don't know why necessarily, but at least not in North America, right? Maybe it's different in China and whatnot. But here it's not. So if you want to be on an esports team, maybe not KOF.
Yeah.
And probably not just KOF, not KOF, but not... You know, there's like a main set of games in North American FGC, right?
Unfortunately,
yeah, including BlazBlue.
What would it take for Street Fighter V to be dethroned as the #1 game at EVO? God,
we just talked about Dragon Ball Fighters.
I mean, look, viewers, entrants, that's like the main thing, right? If Street Fighter V gets... I mean, like I said, the biggest chance... There's such an easy chance of that happening with Smash already. Like, there was just such a chance that Smash Melee could just become the last game at EVO because...
Well, Smash 4 gets more entrants.
Right, that's true. Or Smash 4. Right, exactly. So, it's viewers and entrants, right? As much as everyone says they hate Street Fighter, everyone's watching it. And everyone enters it. You know,
it still gets the most of both, usually anyway.
And that's shifting now because at the last few tournaments, Injustice and Tekken have been outnumbering Street Fighter V, which is a great sign in my opinion because that just means a lot more parity, right? Yeah.
Great.
So that does give them. And in fact, at Summer Jam, Injustice was the last game. Right, so that's just what it all comes down to, right? It's like you want to save the game that people watch the most for the end, because that will keep people watching. If you put the game that everyone watches the most in the middle, no one's going to watch the last parts.
Yeah,
that's just the way it works, right?
Well, I think part of the lesson of Street Fighter V, I feel, is that it's very, very difficult to dethrone Street Fighter. Like, there's very little that Street Fighter itself can do to fall off the top. But it has fallen to some degree. And at the same time, other companies are coming out with awesome games, so I don't think it's impossible for it to get dethroned.
Absolutely. Thoughts on the Curley final that's happening on 9/16, 9 through 17. Here's a...
the Curly Circuit leaderboard and stuff. We should probably talk about that when it's closer.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know enough about it, so that I probably can't talk about it right now. So I would like to wait until we have more information.
Sounds good. But we definitely should talk about that the week before. Because that is very cool.
Let's see. Non-FGC related. You have a piano background. I want to learn, but specifically for one song. Is this hard? Yeah. Piano is not an easy instrument to learn how to play. Now, people can learn it. You'll probably learn bad fingering, just like how I've learned how to poorly type and stuff like that, right? Piano is very, very difficult as someone who has actually sat down and learned how to play piano. You can try to learn it, but honestly, I'll tell you right now, just tell me how good you are at combos and I'll tell you how good you are at pianos. Because there is so much dexterity with hands in playing the piano. One of the reasons why I probably like execution so much is because I played the piano.
I used to play the piano.
And I used to like playing fast songs. Like I used to like crazy stuff. And even like when I showed that video during the break, you see the player crossing hands and stuff like that. That's not even to show off. That's like logically the best thing to do, right? So yeah.
I used to play the piano, and then I stopped to pick up the harmonica. Yes! Man, the harmonica was so sick. I used to be decent at it. Not great, but decent.
Do you guys want anyone announced tomorrow for the Injustice 2 DLC reveal? I would like Constantine with Inferno Scorpion moves.
With Inferno Scorpion? You mean like calling minions and stuff?
Yeah, maybe.
I guess that would make sense. There's nobody in particular I'm looking forward to, but that's kind of how I always do it, right?
Someone actually said, like, it was an MK, they used, like, Abraham Lincoln's silhouette to troll people or something like that, so some people say that Raiden might not actually be one of the characters.
I'm fully expecting that. I'm fully expecting for the one that clearly looks like a Raiden outline to just be, like, some total douche.
Right.
He's got a Raiden-looking hat on. or maybe not even that. Maybe he's just, like, a regular-looking face, and behind him is a mushroom.
Right.
There's just a mushroom behind him, and it looks like the Raiden hat.
By the way, Spike, is categorically false. Piano is the coolest instrument out of all.
I'm sorry, but the harmonica is cooler.
No, piano
Spike
is the
2501. You got it.
Piano is the best, dude. Piano is the best.
How about this? Could you carry your piano in your back pocket to high school graduation party at Disneyland? Could you do that? Actually... Could you play the Pirates of the Caribbean song while on the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Did you do that?
Yeah, I did. Oh man, I was such a I was such a big nerd. Oh man, I was at the high school graduation. I wasn't trying to meet girls and party and stuff. I was literally on the Pirates of the Caribbean, playing the Pirates of the Caribbean.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually pretty sick. That's actually pretty sick.
What a time!
Yeah, it's pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie about that. That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's part of it that I think is hilarious, and the other part is just wow. I can't believe I did that. True story.
Look, I don't know anything about DC characters, and I think they're all stupid. So I have no desire for.
Like already in Injustice 2, a lot of the characters are dumb.
Right.
Blue Beetle. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. So there's really nobody I can honestly say that I'm looking forward to because I don't know who anyone is.
Fair enough.
Okay. Explain to me why Injustice gets to be 3 out of 5 for the entire tournament of majors, but Street Fighter V does not.
Well, we just talked about that.
Yeah, we just talked about that. They said that, and I guess somehow the community figured it out or something. I don't know. Like, Does it feel like a categorically faster game than Street Fighter V?
What, Injustice?
Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like 2 out of 3 would be just fine.
Okay.
It's just at this point, it's both tradition and the developers saying that it should be 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And also, it's a less entered game, so it doesn't hold up as much.
Yeah. That's true.
I think those are the main reasons there.
Okay. Shout outs to the the Ninja Gaiden head right here. What do you think about the mentor players thing in Japan Street Fighter V? Should it be a thing that's adopted in other countries?
I'm referring to Fudo Goichi and so on. Each taking on a young player as a student and having mini events around that, etc. If that's not clear. It is something that's happened in other parts.
Yeah.
Remember old Gui and John Rogg?
Oh, that's right.
6 years ago, probably. It's pretty rare. But it does happen all the time, just on a less formal scale. But it's very common, of course.
2 weeks ago at Wednesday Night Fights, did you hear how they did the Super Turbo tournament?
No.
They let everybody enter, even Vi entered and stuff like that. And they turned it into a team tournament, 2v2. And they didn't let you pick your partner. They just took Vi and paired them who they ranked as categorically the worst player.
Ooh.
And they just kept doing that all the way
Interesting,
through.
Okay.
And so Vi was ranked number 1, and he got first place with his teammate. Mr. Igloo was ranked second, and he got second place with his teammate.
Okay.
Killer Miller ranked herself as 3rd place, and she got 3rd place.
Dang.
I was ranked as 4th, and I got 4th place.
Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, so it was actually really cool. It was a cool idea because those players got to move ahead and play more tournament and play. It was a neat idea. It was a sick format, and I think more teams should actually do that.
I think that's cool.
I think that's actually super cool.
But I do think it's really cool the sort of explicit mentor player thing.
Yeah.
And somebody's just suggested in the chat, and I think this is a super interesting idea, to have that kind of explicit arrangement where one person is the coach, only can coach, the other person is the player, and then you have a tournament of the players, but the coaches share in the money.
Oh,
that there's the coach prize.
Because that's the incentive. Yeah.
I think that's very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
You know what? I mean, I've never actually watched the show, so this is just me from what I've heard about it or what I've gleaned off of it. It'd be kind of like The Voice with fighting games, right? Because you have the actual singers like Christina Aguilera. They're like, oh, I'm going to train this guy, and then they compete against each other. But I don't think they win any money because obviously they're already blisteringly rich. But yeah, for fighting games, I think that would be kind of cool.
With Dancing with the Stars, I'm pretty sure the dancing coaches did win money.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah,
they had to choreograph and stuff. I think there was anyway.
It was always,
could be wrong.
Always one of the people there. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
How did you get top 8 in Mario Kart DS?
Wow,
I was super good at that game.
Wow,
I was really, really good at the game at the time.
What kart did you pick?
I was Luigi with the vacuum.
Luigi, huh?
Yeah, Luigi. He was the 3rd best.
You didn't go with the old dry bones, eh?
No, because it was that one. I like Luigi because I'm always the underdog. I'm always a fan of the low tier, and he's low tier as a character persona, right? So I went with Luigi. But it turned out that Luigi's vehicle was also part of the Dry Bones and Toad high drift, low handling, it was one of the two. Yeah, the perfect combination. So he was 3rd tier. So he was still really good. But I was actually really, 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 really good at... and that was before I even knew snaking. I got, super better at
Everybody was terrible, you're telling me?
Yeah, not a lot of people were great over there.
My God.
But except for, the 2 people... Well,
I'm so mad.
Again, remember, this was very early on. This was before snaking was huge as well. Actually,
I was snaking.
No.
The whole time, friend.
I'm lying. Okay, no. I should say this. I was snaking at the time, but I wasn't snaking as well as I did later on. Okay. Because later on, you find out that you don't even need to snake back and forth. You can just literally snake in any direction you want. It wasn't even back and forth at the highest levels at that point.
Yeah, it was very free. That's my favorite Mario Kart because of that. I felt like it had the highest skill ceiling.
But obviously nobody, I was super good at Mario Kart, and nobody was there for Mario Kart except for 2 people. 2 people came exclusively for that.
Did they really?
Yeah, oh, wow. And they got 1st and 2nd place.
Sick.
So. And the guy, I raced him on Rainbow Road, and I was like, all right, I love Rainbow Road. I'm so good at this track. And I just don't know where he went.
Did you go off the side or something?
No, I was driving super fast, super smooth, and he just disappeared. And afterwards, I asked him, I was like, what the hell did you do? And he's like, I'm the world record holder on Rainbow Road right now.
Sick.
And I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, sneaking was definitely very early.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Do you think these game developers are slowing their core audience by going the eSports route?
Okay. Presumably talking about fighting game developers? Well, no. In a short answer, I do not. In fact, I'm not really sure why they would be. Does this have to do with me having said earlier that there should not be Darkstalkers because it would be too sanitized?
Right, maybe.
Because of esports? Maybe. But at the same time, there are still companies willing to do the wild stuff, like absurd, grotesque fatalities. And
right. I mean, if Darkstalkers is also marketed that way, right? Like, if it's just like, oh, this game is just a more violent, mature game, you know, like, that's fine. And if they tried to sanitize Darkstalkers, that would just destroy the game. That's one of the reasons why I'm actually scared of them going both ways. I'm actually scared of them sanitizing the game too much and also probably going, well, this game was violent and had a lot of sexuality, so let's go crazy with the violence and sexuality. Like, that would have ruined it too, because there's just this huge sense of silliness in Darkstalkers 2 and like ridiculous humor of Lord Raptor pulling out a guitar and shooting you with sound waves and then being launched into you by the electric speakers. Like, there's just so much stupidity in the game, along with the extreme violence and and also the somberness. I've talked about this a lot. There's the humor, the violence, the sexuality, and the sadness.
Right.
There's a really strong sense of sadness in that game too, with the background music, with like Victor von Guggenheim and all. Like, I'm just scared that anybody who makes the game would lose sight of that, and they would take it too far in one direction and ruin it. Like, it's like the perfect balance on there. Do I think that games are ruining it by trying to go to esports? I think it's bad if they try to force it, but I think it's stupid of a company to not try, because it's the thing. It's the right thing to do right now, right? Because esports games are the ones that are making the most money right now. So,
I mean, you know, certainly a big part of it.
Yep. Is there some video game, movie IP that hasn't been a fighting game that you would love to see happen yet? Not an express fighting game, but I've always said I really want to make an Avatar Last Airbender fighting game. And blend that with Korra, like do some weird time thing where they're actually fighting against each other. I've always wanted to design that game. I've always wanted to make that game.
For me, no. Honestly, I can't really... I feel like I could come up a million cool and terrible ideas.
What franchise has a bunch of giant robots that like to throw each other? Robot Jocks.
Robot Jocks?
The fighting game.
Robot Jocks. Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I just came up with your answer. That's awesome. Okay.
Look, only people our age, in fact, or older. I'm surprised I get the Robot Jocks joke, actually. Nobody else here gets the Robot Jocks.
There was also the one that had Hugh Jackman in it, where he was like jumping and like punching and stuff that just came out.
Oh, that was like probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe longer than that.
I mean, in relation to Robot Jocks, yeah, it just came out.
That's true. What was that? Rock'em Sock'em Robots? Wasn't that what it was based on?
I think it was kind of like that, but it had a different name. It had a different name than that. Real Steel.
Real Steel.
And he did it because his kid wanted him to do it, I think, is what he said. So
Robot Jocks was sick.
What is the best cat character? So this is for me.
Wow.
What is the best cat character in video games? You can't pick Felicia.
Wow. Cats other than Felicia.
I mean, like, the King like doesn't count because he's not actually a cat. Catwoman's not actually a cat.
Indeed.
The only other cat that I know of is like Jubei and Taukaka from Blaze Blue, but is there actually another cat in existence in a fighting game? Oh, there was a chick from Bloody Roar, but I don't know anything about that game.
An actual cat. Cheetah.
Yeah, I guess she's kind of half cat.
Right? Isn't she just like cursed or something?
Yeah,
she's a cat?
I don't know. This is impossible to answer, so sorry.
Is Taukaka, does she count? Isn't she like some like other thing?
Well,
I know she has like cat paws, but like,
yeah.
Isn't she like a third category?
I don't know.
She's not like a physical cat, right? Yeah. There's like some extra race or something.
Cham Cham's not a cat. Cham Cham is a little cave girl. I cannot answer that question.
I'm not sure.
Why didn't I restream xEst? Because I just wasn't prepared. I didn't get official permission from anybody, and there was a lot of other events on that weekend that I was watching. It was just I just wasn't. I didn't plan for it properly. That's just all it was. It kind of sprung up on me, unfortunately. So.
Oh yeah, Misfortune.
Oh, Misfortune. Yeah.
Misfortune's cat.
Okay. Lucky Chloe. Yeah, see, Lucky Chloe's in that Catwoman category. Yeah, exactly. Question of the night: who really shot Mr. Burns?
Who really shot Mr. Burns? I'll tell you my theory.
You actually have a theory like this, huh?
I believe that it was Waylon Smithers.
That it wasn't actually Maggie Simpson?
That's right.
Okay, how does that compute?
I mean, when he was shot, he landed on the dial and clearly was pointing to WNS. They later said that he was pointing to M.
Right.
But no, I don't buy it.
But they showed him getting shot by the baby, right, in the flash?
I mean, it's a flashback. Anything could happen when you're, tinkering with time like that. It's not a current thing. It's not happening at the time.
Something. Okay, sorry.
It was Waylon Smithers.
Are you tapping something with your foot?
I'm not. I'm making no noise at all.
That's so weird. Where the hell is
Yeah, the unreliable narrator. That's right. It's just like a Simpsons thing to do, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Okay. Well, fair enough. Okay, are you guys going to try BBCF 2.0? I purchased it from the PSN sale that was on just a while ago, the one that we talked about last week.
Yeah.
So I purchased Central Fiction. I have it now. It's the first time I've gotten the game.
Yeah.
So I could play it. It just depends on time. And right now, the fact that I'm cracking out on Injustice, Guilty Gear, and Tekken, and I still have barely touched Union is going to be a problem.
Are you hearing some noise? Because I'm not hearing a noise. You really look like you're hearing a noise right now, but there's...
Yeah, I am still hearing
there are no
like
noises
thumps right now.
It's not loud in here.
Okay, it's not happening anymore.
Anyway, it wasn't happening.
Jeez, this is, like I said, lack of sleep, James, right?
Yeah.
Lack of sleep, James. Okay, next question. Why don't you guys have Vertigear chairs? Actually, we should get on that. Cause
yeah.
I talked to the Vertigear guy at Evo, and he was like, let's do something.
Yeah.
Can we get a teaser about what you have planned with the Day 9 TV Brood War rant? Yeah, sure, absolutely. Someone actually, I'm going to do that.
Oh, this is real.
This is real. I was actually, someone linked me a video on from Day 9 on a rant, and I was going to do an Uncensored episode. I don't know if he responded to me on Twitter yet. I asked him if I could do it, and I'll probably use it even if he doesn't say anything. But, hopefully he'll be okay with it. But basically, his whole rant was, StarCraft is a strategy game second, and it is a real-time management kind of game first, right? And so, he's basically talking about everyone saying, like, I just want to get past learning the mechanics so I can get to the actual strategy part of the game. And he's like, then that's like not the game. And so I want to talk about that in Street Fighter and why everyone who wants to take out execution is basically falling into the same trap. Because it's a video game, and you're supposed to have execution, and that's what makes games cool. It's the same execution rant kind of thing, but...
I think there are two things there. One is that, factually, all the fighting games are execution.
Mm-hmm.
But that's different from the aspirational thing of wanting fighting games not to have execution.
Right, yeah, he talks about that too. He addresses that too.
Brood War is a game, and that's the game. You can't change it.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be great if there was a strategy game that had a much lower execution barrier.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But Brood War doesn't.
Right.
It's very execution heavy.
Yeah.
Two things.
Okay.
I'd like to have games that don't have execution, but, at some point we'll all be playing video games with the brain. We can get rid of these stupid flesh-to-digital interfaces that we're all doing.
Oh, it might be you doing... Did this on the table? Do that again on the table?
I was just picking my finger.
You sure you're not like kicking the box down there or something?
I'm really not doing anything, man.